Hello lovely people, how are you all doing today? I hope you're all well and happy and feeling like spring is starting to be happening, maybe. I'll talk about weather in a sec. Just to say very quickly, I'm not in my usual place for my chatty chair moment. I'll explain that later in the video, but back to the weather. We've got a dry day today, so I'm hoping to get out. But one of the things I love about living here is sort of immersing myself in the weather more. I don't know if that will make sense. For example, I'm going to show you a little bit of footage now from a few days ago. What day? I can't remember what day of the week it was. It was a morning. I'd looked at the weather forecast the night before and I thought there was a possibility that we'd get this kind of weather. And then when I woke up the next morning, I could tell that the light was a bit different and I thought, oh, I love this kind of weather. I'm going to grab my camera and get down to the beach and get some footage for you, because we had a big old sea fog rolling in. So I'm going to share that footage with you now, and I hope it will be a little bit of chill time for you too. So, roll VT. Yes, that is. People just coming out of the sea. Can't see the beach. Can't see anything. Fog. Can hardly see the pier. There's the stone pier. It's rolling in. I won't be able to see my feet in a moment. I love it. Like I said, I love all the different weather. Maybe it's just maybe it's because I'm by the sea. I don't know, but yeah, I love all the different weathers I get down here. But that fog, ooh, there's something. It's kind of spooky, isn't it? One could almost expect the Marie Celeste to come sailing out of that fog and get beached on Swanage Beach. Ooh, yeah, spooky. Also with the fog, so I remember, when I was a kid, when was it? I had to make a note of the date. So yeah, a kid and into my teen years. My grandparents still lived in the village, which is kind of from where I'm sitting. It's up along on the ridge, one of the old quarrying villages. And their house was at the very end of the street. It was the last house on the street, and beyond them there was a big field and you sort of crest the bridge, and then another big field, and then you drop down and there's the sea. So between them and the sea there was nothing, a couple of fields, there was nothing to protect them from the weather. And I always remember as a kid the sound of the foghorn. So this is at Anvil Point Lighthouse, which must be, in terms of distance from their old place, about 2 miles, I would say. And in fact from here it's about 1.5 miles. Beautiful, beautiful lighthouse. Oh, I can't remember its dates now. I think built in the late 1800s. Anyway, there was a foghorn. It's actually been decommissioned, and I can't understand why. Why would you decommission a foghorn? It was decommissioned in 1988. Maybe because navigation for boats has improved, but what if your navigation aids go down? Anyway, this foghorn, it used to belt out this moan. Did I write? I found it online at one point. I actually found there's a this is a bit nerdy. There are sites for every nerd under the sun. There are lighthouse sites you can visit, but there's one about foghorns. Just listen to foghorns at various lighthouses around the country, and it will tell you the loop that it's on, as in how frequently it blows. I think it was 2 minutes at Anvil Point. But I just remember as a kid this sound, I'm not doing it justice, but it just sounded like this awful, scary, wailing, cave-dwelling, in-the-cliffs monster to me as a kid. It really frightened me, the sound of the foghorn. So it was christened Moaning Minnie. I don't know if it was christened Moaning by my family, Moaning Minnie before I was born. But certainly as a child growing up, I'd hear the foghorn, it would scare me, and they'd say, don't worry, it's just Moaning Minnie. Moaning Minnie's just having a moan. I kind of miss that sound now. There's something, this might sound a bit weird, but it's almost sort of comforting as a sound, because you know that it's associated with keeping people safe. It's keeping everyone on the sea safe. Don't come closer. You know, you can't see the rocks for the fog, but you can hear Moaning Minnie. It's like, oh, there's Moaning Minnie. Let's back up a bit. Not that you back up in a boat, you know what I mean. But also the fog, I'm really excited about this. It sort of seems like the perfect weather for what I've got in my lap. Hang on, I need a glug of water. Some books. Now I saw these, not the ones I've bought subsequently, but I saw a display we have a bookshop in Swanage, lovely little bookshop. I saw them in a display in the window, but we also have an Oxfam bookshop, so it's second-hand books. And they had a display, and I thought, I saw the titles, and immediately I kind of knew what all the titles were about. They're quite obvious. And then I thought, oh, just kind of log it. And then over the last couple of weeks, I've seen them in charity shops, so I've managed to grab 3. It's actually fiction, again, unusual for me, I've mentioned that before. I read mostly non-fiction. And it's crime fiction, Would You Adam and Eve It? And I thought I'd give them a go, because if you remember, I've read the Sea Detective novels, crime novels, 4 of them so far, and actually really enjoyed them, page turners. So these ones are written by a woman called Rachel McLean, and this is her first one. It's called The Corfe Castle Murders. So you can see now why I thought, oh, I'll have a go. So I think they're either all set in Purbeck, or they're mostly set in Purbeck. Actually, one of these is a bit further along the coast, in Dorset. So, local lass. And as I understand it, you can see on the cover it says 1 million copy bestseller. initially she wrote these books and she self-published. And she was selling them thousands and thousands. And usually someone who's self-published, you know, they're not going to make it. That's it. But this, who is this publisher? Hera Books, kind of clocked it and went, oh, we'll publish her. And she sold masses. So yeah, the Dorset crime series, the first one in the series, I don't know if they need to be read in order. I popped back into the Oxfam bookshop, they disappeared from the window, and I wanted to go in and get the author's name, and they'd all sold, great. So I got the name, and he was saying he didn't know if they needed to be read in order, but I'm really glad I found the first one. So I've got Corfe Castle Murders, then I found, and this is just purely by chance in the last couple of weeks of being out and about and seeing them, oh, you know, picking it up for £1. I think one of them was £1.50, another one was £1.75. Second-hand books are going up, aren't they? I mean, charity shop books, never mind. But the next one I found is The Island Murders, and so this takes place on Brownsea Island. For those who might not know about Brownsea Island, it's the largest island within Poole Harbour. You can go and visit it. I think the National Trust may own / look after it. It's where Baden-Powell pretty much first started the Boy Scout movement, and they would camp on the island. It has red squirrels there, and I don't know if they still do this, but I've certainly experienced it a couple of times, open air theatre on the island, and that's really magical because you have to take a boat to the island, you go and watch this piece of theatre outdoors, and I just remember the peacocks going in the background, and then it's dark and you're making your way home and you have to get a boat off the island. Little boats as well, it was a little putt-putt boat. Oh, it's so exciting. So that's Brownsea Island. And then the other one I've picked up is the Fossil Beach Murders, and I wondered if it was going to be set on Kimmeridge because that's within Purbeck. It's actually at Lyme Regis, so like I said, Dorset, not just Purbeck. But where's the little list? Hang on a sec. So then there's, I don't know where this one is, the Cliff Top Murders. Don't know where that. Oh, that might be at West Bay because that's a really, really high cliff, famously high cliff. The Monument, don't know, Millionaire. The Millionaire Murders, I'm wondering if that must be taking place at Sandbanks, that's Millionaire's Row. Fossil Beach. The Blue Pool Murders. The Blue Pool is another sort of, it's a tourist attraction. It's an old clay quarry. It's an old clay quarry, and this vastly deep quarry that's filled with water, and it's very, very blue. And it's surrounded by woods. It's a beautiful spot to visit. I was actually mentioning it to Richard and Paul that maybe one of their visits they'd like to go, because I know they like woodland in particular. You have to pay though to go in. The Lighthouse Murders, don't know which lighthouse. This one I really want to read, The Ghost Village Murders. So I'm willing to bet that that is set in the village of Tyneham. I really want to take you there one day. Poole Harbour Murders, Poole Harbour. Yeah, Tyneham is a village which at some point during the Second World War was essentially, it was requisitioned by the MOD. So it's a little tiny village near Kimmeridge. It's about a mile inland from the coast, from Kimmeridge. And yeah, teeny tiny little village, church, little school, tiny one-room school, and the MOD requisitioned it for sort of military manoeuvre practice for the Second World War. I don't know if there was one particular movement they were going to practice. So everyone in the village was asked to leave, go live somewhere else. The army needs your village to practice in, and there's a really poignant little note was put on the door of, I think it might have been the schoolroom, to say, you know, please look after our village. It makes me want to cry about it. And then at the end of the war, the villagers, they never did get to go back to their village. The MOD kept it. And I remember visiting it as a child when it was, you know, pretty much in ruins. But over the years, what's it like? The last time I went to Tyneham was, I went with my sister on a visit. I think it must have been back in 2019. And there's been a lot of restoration, not restoration might be the wrong word. They're stopping it from decaying any further, put it that way. And there are little notices up, so little plaques saying which house is what, and you can go into the schoolroom, you can actually go into the schoolroom, and the desks are all there, and the church, so the church and the schoolroom are preserved, is probably a better word than restoration. So they're being looked after now, which makes me happy, because I can't imagine what it would be like to, you know, I mean, it wouldn't happen in Swanage where it's too large, but if you know, we were asked to leave and we thought it was temporary while something goes on here, and then they say, no, you can't come back. Anyway, so that's Rachel McLean's Dorset Murders. Really, really looking forward to having a read of them. Right, now before I carry on with my other bits and bobs, I'll explain why I'm in here. I'll show and explain. I've had to have a little bit of a jiggle around of things because I'm waiting for my carpenter to come and do a bit of measuring. I'll show you. Well, I'm obviously in the bedroom. You could see the wardrobe behind my head. And that's because, well, that's my chatty chair that's normally in the living room. That chair is normally by the wardrobe. These bookshelves are normally in the living room. That's all shop stock. And I've put a load of new stock in. Yay! Oh, it's so many lovely books. Actually, having books in the bedroom is not a bad thing. Love it. Highlights of recent purchases. Oh, wild swimming that's in Rivers. River Cottage Veg Patch. I love these River Cottage handbooks. They're fab. Anyway, yeah, lots of lovely new bits. And they're in here because I've had to empty the living room a bit. Oh, actually, while I'm in here, something else has arrived. Can I wiggle into this space? Do you remember when I was putting up... Oh, sorry. I'm going to sit on the bed a sec. When I found this picture, I said, it's of Studland Beach. I said, oh, it's going to be perfect on this wall with a little watercolour that was always in my grandparents' house. I now have it. The watercolour from my grandparents' house has arrived. So eventually it's going to go... Oh, I can't step far enough back now from the wall, but sort of like this. Budge the cross stitch along a bit, and this one hanging next to it, because I'm going to just pop this back down here and sit a second. They're in the same sort of area. So this is called Little Sea, Sea as in S-E-A, as in, you know, the seaside, Little Sea, and this is over in Studland, and it's a large sort of body of water on that sort of peninsula that Studland is on. And the view is looking back towards, this is the Purbeck Hills, and this is back towards Ballard Down and Handfast Point. So this view is further away of the same sort of view. So, oh, the light's going to reflect on the glass. So in this one, we're looking, this is sort of Ballard Down here, Handfast Point, and it goes round and becomes Ballard Point. Old Harry Rocks, I know that many of you will know. So that's from the beach. That is in the distance. So you can see that the white of the cliffs painted in there. So I think they'll make a lovely pair. So I'm so happy to have this lovely little watercolour that my grandparents had for years. I don't know who painted it. It wasn't either of them. E. Hind, 1940. So what I've done is I've taken the measurements of it, and I now have them on a piece of paper in my wallet, so that when I'm out and about in junk shops and the like, I can look to find a frame of a suitable size, and then what I'll do is, if I get a nice frame and it's a bit big, well, I'll just make a mount. So this sort of card around it, and I'll get it in for the watercolour. I'll get the same sort of colour mount, which is a sort of off-white cream colour, to adjust it for the right size. But I'm so happy to have that here now. It's back in Purbeck. How lovely. Right, let's go into the front room, see what's happened. Oh, I think I've got some laundry airing still, yes, so excuse the laundry, and it's going to be quite bright in here. Yeah, we've got brightness, which I had to close the blinds against the brightness for coming in here, but you can see now, let me stand back a bit, so that space is now empty, all my books in front of the fire, and that space is empty. So let me pull this out of the way, and then I'll give you an idea of what's going to happen, hopefully. I can't get both alcoves in view, can I? If I step right back, look where I'm standing. So the plan is from just above the picture rail, about there, all the way down, that will be shelves. And then this side, so same height, shelves, 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 and then at the bottom just a bit of a cupboard. I was going to do a cupboard on both sides so it'd be symmetrical, but well, firstly the rad is in the way a bit, but also I need the book space. I mean, I need cupboard space too. So yeah, everything's piled up here for now. I will also be cutting away the carpet. I don't want this carpet in here. Yuck, I don't like carpet at all. But yeah, cutting away the carpet for him to be able to do his work right down to the floor, and that will give me a good idea of what sort of state the floorboards are in. Oh, and also while we're here, the propagators. Hopefully by the time you see this I've done a bit more. That's the peppers, that's the celery. They're a little bit steamed up. You can see very much steamed up. The vents are slightly open. I'm not worried about that at the moment because the seedlings, there's no seedlings showing, nothing's come up. But once they actually germinate and they've come up, I wouldn't want the propagators to get so steamy because they can dampen off. So on a warm sunny day like today, well, I say warm, it's mild. Actually in the window it's probably reaching about 20 degrees. But yeah, the propagator lids would come off and then just go back on at night. Right, where was I? What was I talking about? Let me sit down again. Actually it's quite nice to sit with the blind open and be able to look out and see, just see a bit of the garden without lashing rain. What a grotty winter. Right, so, oh yes, I wanted to mention this, couple of things to mention. Out on my travels looking for books for my shop, I came across this, it's going to go in the shop, and I'm so pleased. I found a copy of The Man Who Made Things from Trees, Out of Trees, Robert Penn. It's an ash tree, and oh my goodness, so many things get made from this one tree. It's a wonderful book. I read it about 3 years ago. In fact, it might have been one of my books of the year. I really enjoyed it. And it goes through, so we can see on the cover there's an axe, baseball bat, an arrow, a hurling stick, an oar, tent peg, a bowl, spoon. How wonderfully versatile this particular tree is for making all these things. And he goes on a journey to find out how the things are made, but also it gives us a bit of sort of, it goes into the social history of it all too, but always this beautiful material is at the heart of the book. I loved it, absolutely loved it. And I can't remember what happened to it. Did I give it away? Did I sell it? I don't know. And I was like, oh, I should have kept it. Never mind. Life's too short for keeping books these days. Once those books get unpacked onto my shelves, I'm going to be starting to sell some of them. But anyway, I found a copy. I'm delighted. it's going to go into my shop. I've been looking ever since I read it because I loved it so much, and I know quite a few of you were interested. A couple of people got in touch to say, can I have your book? It had already gone. So I'll keep it cheap because it obviously has been read, and the spine is what we call, looking straight on there, it's what we call cocked. Actually, it's not strictly speaking cocked. Cocked is that way, but you can see it's been read and loved. But yeah, fab book. I found it, I was thinking, oh, I'm going to reread it. Do you ever reread books? I mean, obviously with my Treats for a Tenner, I've reread some of the kids' books, but that's different because I read those 5 million years ago in the last millennia. Actually, it was the last millennia, wasn't it? I was going to say last century, last millennia. Anyway, yeah, I thought, oh, do I want to reread it? I kind of do. I thought, Vivi, you don't have time. I don't have time. I need to live at least 3 or 4 more lifetimes just to read all the books I want to read. I need to live forever just to read. What's this note? Oh yes, scribbled this note. So we're in the month, I'm not sure when you'll see this video, but we're in the month which contains, at least in the UK, Mother's Day, Mothering Sunday. Which, as I'm sure you all know, the origins had nothing to do with our mums, our, you know, that female figure that brings us up, nurtures us. It was all about going back to one's mother church. So specifically, you know, for those myriad young women who were in service, as I would have been if I'd been born in that time, you know, poor, you're going to end up in service. You get that one day off to go back to your hometown, to go back to your home church, your mother church. Anyway, you all know that, I'm sure. So, do you remember just before Christmas I was having an it might have been, what's that? Excuse me a second. Oh, bless him. That was my postie, not my main postie. I have one regular postie who I see the vast majority of the time, and then I've got 2 who fill in for when my main one is having a holiday or whatever. So it's not my main postie, and the reason I stopped the camera is because I could hear banging on the front door, the main door, the street door, not my internal door. I thought, that's odd. So I went to, and it was the postman, and I said, why didn't you ring? He said, oh, I didn't want to disturb you because it was a parcel for upstairs. And I said, but I work from home. He said, I know you work from home. He said, I just didn't want to disturb you. Oh, bless him. So I've just said to him, look, just ring, because banging up the, I didn't say this to him, but banging on the door, it always makes me a bit uneasy. It's a bit, you know, it's a bit, you know, when you hear that kind of noise. Anyway, yeah, so I said, don't worry, you know, you won't disturb me. Just, if there's a parcel for someone else, ring my bell, I'll take it in for them. I take in everyone's. I don't mind because I don't have 60 stairs to go. I used to mind in London. It used to drive me insane when the doorbell went, not from the postie, but from delivery companies. They just ring every bell until they get an answer. So there I am, 60 stairs up on the top floor, and it's a parcel for number 1 or 2. Anyway, I'm more than happy to take in parcels here, and I do regularly. I'm here, you know, and we're neighbours. That's what neighbours do for each other, isn't it? Right, what was I saying? Ah, yes, so, before Christmas, I was having a bit of a moan, and like I said, it might have been in that video that I titled Monthly Moan. I was going to have a monthly moan, but I got quite a lot of, anyway, I'm not necessarily going to have a monthly moan. And I mentioned a restaurant which was doing all sorts of fancy stuff for Christmas, a set menu. No, there was a choice. So the reason I was mentioning it is because the Meat Eaters got this fantastic choice of 5 or 6 different really, really luxurious meals for the main, 5 or 6 different starters, all super luxe. And the veggies got butternut soup to start and roast butternut Wellington for main. you know, lacking imagination, same veg for both courses, blah, 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 and paying the same price as the veggies, and it was 30 quid. I saw an advert for them. They were doing a Valentine menu, and it was the same thing again. Loads of choice for the meaties and only one dish for the veggies. And this time it was 40 quid per head, Valentine's, hike the prices up. But for Valentine's, for the vegetarians, it was butternut soup for starters and roast butternut Wellington for your main. So it's exactly the same as Christmas, except £10 more. Well, I just saw advertised back to Mothering Sunday, they're doing a Mother's Day special, and you guessed it, all these beautiful, and the meat course for the Valentine's was different to Christmas. Completely different menu for the meat eaters for Mother's Day, but yes, the vegetarians on Mother's Day are going to get butternut soup and a roast butternut Wellington for their main. What is wrong with that place? It's like, imagine it could have been that, you know, I'm not a mother, but you know, you go at Christmas with the whole family and that's what I get to eat. And then a partner taking me out for a special night for Valentine's, I get the same meal as I had at Christmas. And then, you know, my kids want to take me out for Mothering Sunday, same meal again. Absolute. I just think there is so many wonderful things we can do with vegetables, and I know I've actually known a couple of chefs in my life who really enjoy getting creative and inventive with with menus to come up with for vegetarians. Now, speaking of being veggie, a big thank you to Zelda. Excuse me. I had a little parcel arrive, a little surprise parcel. It's so exciting. It's another Instant Pot cookbook, but this one, whoa, much bigger, much thicker. So the one I bought was, did it say it was 101 recipes? This is 150 plant-based recipes from Indian cuisine and beyond. So that's going to really make me happy and tap into my sorry, my brain just went over there somewhere into my love of curries, mild curries I like. But you know, just from first glance, oh, you want to get your laughing gear around that, don't you? Just look. I mean, they all just look absolutely gorgeous. And what I liked, so I wrote to Zelda to thank her. What I liked at the beginning, where is it? What are the noises? Someone's sweeping the hall. Ah. It'll be my neighbour from upstairs. Yes, there's a section at the beginning that there's got sort of basic recipes. So there's a veggie stock, oh, yogurt, vegan. I'm not sure, the book might be vegan. Is it vegan rather than veggie? Oh yeah, it's vegan. That's okay, you know, if you're not vegan, you could add other bits. But what I like is so she's got a recipe for making your own Worcester sauce, a barbecue sauce, making your own curry powder, a Cajun seasoning mix, an enchilada seasoning mix, a taco seasoning mix. So yeah, that's, yeah, lovely. I mean, like I mentioned previously, I don't know if this video will have been out yet, but of making my own curry paste. So I'm really keen to curl up with this and have a proper look and think, oh, I might try that as a different style of seasoning. But yeah, can't wait to dive in. Thank you so much, lovely. It is an official Instant Pot book. So yeah. Oh, there she is on the back. She's lovely. Risha Hingle. Yeah, I'll very much enjoy diving through that. It's kind of one of those books so it's going to make me feel hungry. I'm actually starting to feel hungry now, and it's nowhere near lunchtime. Can I hold on to lunchtime? I don't know. Can't even remember what I'm having for lunch. I pulled a soup out of the freezer last night because I'm hoping to be busy today, because apart from anything else, I'm hoping to get some time outside. It's clouding over a little bit, but it's supposed to be dry. It's not going to be that warm in the garden because, like I said, at this time of year still, I don't get any sun in the garden. So yeah, hoodie and then another hoodie over the top. But yeah, I really, really need to start getting on and doing some tidy up, sorting out there. It's abandoned, it's bedraggled, it's sad, and I want to start loving it again. Right, I'm waffling now. I'm going to go. I will see you all really soon. I'll see you in a few days. I can't remember what for. There's a couple of videos in the can already, but I don't know what order things are happening in at the moment. Never mind. You'll see me when you see me. So until then, please look after yourselves. Stay well. Stay happy. Enjoy your books. I can't wait to tuck into, just reaching down again in case I was too quick with her name, Rachel McLean. I don't know if she pronounced it McLean or McLean. Her Dorset crime series. I'm sure some of you will have read them. I've got these 3 at the moment, which I'll read. I don't know how good they are. They might be absolute rubbish pot boilers for all I know, but if I enjoy them, I'll let you know how I enjoy them anyway. And if I do enjoy them, I'll certainly look out for the others, particularly the Ghost Village Murders. That one I'd really like to get my hands on. Anyway, waffling. Go Vivi, go, go! See you soon, lovelies. Until then, cheerio.